Hey everybody, Mike Burkholder here, East County today, here with J.R. Wilson, Delta Veterans Group. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Mike, for coming out to the fairgrounds in regards to the stand down on the Delta.
So we're here today to talk about the stand down on the Delta, which they are setting up the next 2 days.
2 days. It starts on Friday, so we'll be setting up right up to 10 o'clock, man. Really, right till Friday. That's when the veterans start coming in at 10 o'clock. I gave you a tour earlier on today. You saw the big domes coming up. We have 30 of those domes, and each one of those domes take about an hour to set up. So all the volunteers we can get for that as well.
So for those that don't know you, can you give them a quick bio of who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. I grew up out here. I went to high school at Antioch High School, Pittsburgh High School, kind of the East County kind of kid growing up in the 70s. I hate to say. But I don't know, I'd say we had a great time in the 70s.
I was in the 80s.
Right, there you go. 80s were fun too, high school. I graduated in high school. But anyway, I grew up out here. My dad was a janitor at LMC, so we were really blue collar. We were really raised that we make our community better than we find it. We make our space better than where we find it. So when I went in the military, I actually came back here in 2011, saw that the homeless population had exploded. And as you know, a large percentage of those homeless population are veterans. So in San Diego, in the late 80s, they started a thing called Stand Down on the Delta. It's a military term where all the units kind of come together, they get their haircuts and showers, and they refresh and recharge. And so we really wanted to bring that into Contra Costa County. Alameda County does one in the even years with the East Bay Stand Down, and a lot of our volunteers actually have attended that one, and now they since they live over here, they wanted that. So in 2015, we kicked off our first Stand Down on the Delta, which brought in over 350 veterans, and thank you for helping us get that word out for that, Mike. That was absolutely wonderful. And then it started to develop from that. So it's just I'm a member of the Rotary, so we give service before oneself, a little shout out for our Rotary, and that's what we do out here in East Contra Costa County is we serve before ourselves.
So going into the planning on something like this, that's a big undertaking. How long did it take you guys to plan the first one?
Sure.
And then how did it make it better for this one?
Absolutely. In 2012 is when we founded Delta Veterans Group. And we founded Delta Veterans Group specifically to do the Stand Down on the Delta. So from 2012 to 2015, that was that planning stage for the first one. A lot of the people out here had never did the planning of a stand down. So we had to go out and talk to every single organization, from the VFWs, all of our local VFWs, the Antioch, the Brentwood, the Pittsburgh VFWs, Veterans of Oakley, started a new group. So that was another avenue to get the word out. Every women's club in Contra Costa County, I think we spoke to, from the Daughters of the American Revolution to our own Antioch Women's Club.
Yeah, your guys' outreach was huge.
Exactly, Lions, the Rotary, the Elks. I'm a Mason as well as an Elk. So we really had to reach out into our community, and that's the reason why we knew that we could do it here in East Contra Costa County, is because of the people that we have out here.
So what was like the timeline of starting to then having the event?
Well, it was getting the word out for one, and then it was convincing the county that we needed it, because obviously we got to get a lot of resources from the county. Then we had to work with the federal government. We had to get the VAs on board as well. As you see, a lot of our stuff is DOD surplus. So we make orders throughout the year of sleeping bags. We got over 470 sleeping bags. We have over 400 pairs of boots from a variety of sizes. The faith-based community comes in and they do all of our undergarments. White Pony Express is going to run the clothing store that we're in. See, what we do is we build a community. What we don't want to do is to have that woman veteran come up with her child, and then that's just something, right? So what they get to do is they get to come to this store right here with their clothing voucher, and they get to pick out their sizes of clothing that they want to have. Of course, they get one pair of boots, and they get a pair of jeans, and they get a shirt, and they get their undergarments, and they get hygiene package. So there's about 70 different organizations that have to come together, and then from federal to our local governments all have to come together. And then it's about 1,400 volunteer hours, not 1,400 volunteers, but 1,400 volunteer hours, from the kitchen to driving golf carts. And to have all of that come together in a span of, for 4 days is quite the undertaking. But we have a great team here. It's not just a one-person show. We have a great board of directors, fantastic people on there, and then people like you that are in the community and helping us get the word out.
So who are some of the people that helped plan this event, and who's on your board? Can you kind of give a
Sure,
shout out?
I can give a shout out to them. We have Martha Parsons, which I absolutely love. Martha Parsons. I actually stalked her to get her on the board. She'll tell you.
You weren't
that.
thrown in jail?
No, she'll tell you that story.
All right.
But I did. I kind of invited her to a meeting and then put her behind the table there and introduced my board, and she was one of them. So we have Monica Wilson, also sits on that board of directors. Jim Etherington out of Walnut Creek. Dan Helix. Many of you know Dan Helix's father from Concord, my first mayor when I was born. Bill Rydell, Bill Swenson. Diane Ferguson from LMC, Laura Sharples from Shelter Inc., Clyde Battaglia, my longest friend. I've known him since I was about 11 years old. George Brown, 21 years, and a lot of these are veterans as well. George Brown did 21 years in the United States Army. I've known him since I was 13 years old as well. Brad Yoder is our treasurer. And then Angelina Pierce and Angelina grew up out here, so a lot of people know Angelina. She is our secretary. So all of them, they're out there doing different things in the community and pulling them all together for us. And then again, we really want to give a shout out to our local population, because without them, without our volunteers, this would be impossible. Our local VFW donated over $25,000, closer to $28,000 for just this event.
And so to put on an event like this, what does it cost?
This event itself costs about $100,000. And we have some of that's with in-kind donations. So we have to raise about $75,000 to really do that. So the VFW gave about a third of that just from one Antioch VFW.
And so one of the challenges you have right now is finding volunteers. You've got, people giving haircuts,
yes,
massages, chiropractor. What are some ways people can volunteer?
Sure. Our volunteer registration has expired. However, we do need barbers and beauticians. So if they send me an email, which is geraldwilson1971@gmail.com, we'll get them on the list to be able to cut hairs. And that would be on Saturday and Sunday, all shifts from 8 to 4. For setup and teardown, everybody wants to volunteer their time for the actual event, but it takes a lot of man hours to set up, as you saw going around the encampment. It's even to build the animal control site and the hygiene packets and all that. But we absolutely need volunteers to come down, and they don't have to sign up. They can come right down to the fairgrounds for setup, and setup goes all the way up until Thursday night. So at any time they can come down, and that's going to be from 8 o'clock until about 5 o'clock at night. If they want to come down and give 2 hours to help build a tent, and they're the yurts tents, those big domes. Yep. So we're going to have a dome city out there. And the only thing we ask is that they sign in and they sign a waiver for our insurance, which I give a shout out to the Kiwanis Club here in Antioch. They do all of our insurance and everything like that, which is an undertaking.
Because I know, like the one you had previously, you had everybody volunteer before and during the event, and then you're
right.
Sitting there with all the tents.
Right, we had three volunteers, Mike, show up for teardown. It's like, oh, the event's over. No, it's teardown as well. We need to get the fairgrounds back to tip-top shape. They have other events that go on, and if I could, Mike, while we're talking about the fairgrounds, give them a great shout out. Joe, the new fair manager, is absolutely fantastic. Jen in the office is wonderful. They stored all of our DoD surplus throughout the year. And then they open up their buildings to us. The groundskeepers are all polite. It's a great staff that they have up there at the Contra Costa County Fairgrounds headquarters main office.
So for you, what's kind of the coolest thing about this entire event for you personally?
The meeting of the veterans. I mean, these people. We have a assumption that homeless people look a certain way or they act a certain way. That is completely wrong. These people are gems. They are diamonds in the rough. So to see them go from that transition from Friday to Monday with the haircuts, we have Supreme Court judges that come out and do Veterans Treatment Court as well. So they get their legal issues squared away, they get their ID, they want to get a haircut, they want to get cleaned up. That's a joy. That is the reward that we get, because we're all volunteers. We don't get paid. There's none of this going on. It's about seeing that veteran have a smile on their face and know that they're part of a community again. That's the part we forget. We think about this whole stand down as just resources. Yeah. That's not the main goal. The main goal is to have them feel like they're part of a community again, So we take them to Paradise Skate. Thank you, Jeff. We take them roller skating. We take them down to the river to go fishing. We take 40 of them to do that. And really, that is to really tie them back into the community. So when we're in the military, we go back to the barracks, or we go to our platoon or a company or whatever, and we have that group of people that we could all rely on. And that's really what we're establishing here over those next 4 days. So if we can get people with setup and especially tear down, that way we can be out of the fairgrounds, and the fairgrounds, the nice people fairgrounds, get their site back. It'd be great.
So going back to the first stand down, was there a moment that somebody came up to you, or a moment that really got you to let you know that, all right, this is what I want to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. For our stand down, we did a lot of first. Most stand downs don't have the animals on site. They take the animals and they ship them off to the veterinarian and stuff like that. But one of the things that we knew we had to do was to have our animals on site, and it paid off. We had veterans coming up, and there's one that's going to be here as a volunteer now. I'm not going to give his name, but he had a real issue where he needed treatment. He had suicide ideations. He needed to get into treatment. He needed stand down, but he thought that stand downs did not take animals. So when he heard that we were taking animals, he called about 10 of us to confirm, to make sure. And we told him, Cart and Peg and Noel and all that whole team will take care of your animal. He came here, he got the treatment that he needed. He met a chaplain that then took him over, and they got some mental health treatment there. He made that connection. He came up to me and he just hugged me and squeezed. I thought my head was going to pop off, right? And he was bawling.
You're still red.
I'm still red. This is from all the volunteer hours out there building tents. But so when he came to me, it was quite the emotion, right? And then for him to get the treatment, for him to get his dog got a chip put into the back of that, and later on he actually had an accident again where the dog got separated, but they were able to bring them back together. He now volunteers at CART on a part-time basis. He's going to be here at Stand Down in Delta. This is how he became disabled, Mike. He was going to law school. He got jumped with guys with bats. They beat him. They gave him a TBI in his head. He was married with a kid. He had to drop out of law school because of the TBI. He got kind of hooked on the pain meds that they were giving him. They just push those things down on us, and they have heroin and stuff in them, right? Sure. So he was down and out. He lost his family. He lost his ability to go to school. He wanted to end his life. But Stand Down came in and affected him and gave him a new path. So now he has 2 part-time jobs. He volunteers at CART. He's going to be here volunteering his time to give back. That's what we do, Mike. We give them platforms. See, we served our country. Now, many of our veterans want to serve our community, but they just don't have that firm foundation: housing, education, health, and employment. So we help them with those 4 bases, give them that firm foundation, and then they get to be this guy and leap back into their community.
So the whole goal, just so people understand, is to give them that little push, boost, a little bit of motivation, because that goes a long way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You just need to know that somebody cares, and that's what you guys are trying to do.
Absolutely. This year's theme.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, what's this year's theme? Because I know you're a big theme guy.
I love it. And I love love, right? Love is fantastic. So this year's theme is the Summer of Love. It's the 50th year anniversary. How can it not fit in perfectly, right? So we kind of got lucky with that. Our participants are going to be walking around in tie-dye shirts.
Nice.
Right, very cool. And then the bands are kind of, a groovy thing. But the theme about love, and why do we pick this theme, right? It goes back to that community. It goes back to we as a society and all of our volunteers want our veterans to know that one, we touch them, we love them, and when they go home at night and sleep, wherever they sleep, that they're loved. That's so important. With so many suicides in our veterans community, which I'll give you a little bit of statistics. A lot of people think that is the Persian Gulf veteran that is pulling the trigger. That is not the veteran that is committing the suicide. The highest rates of veteran suicide are in our older population, our Vietnam veterans, okay? Our female veterans are growing. So that population really needs to know that one, they're part of the community, and the second, that they are loved. So all 4 days will be centered around love. The first day we'll be talking about living our vision every day. You see that the acronym of love. So we want to show them that reach inside yourself, pull that vision out, and then live that every day.
Sure.
And we will love you and we will support you for that, right? So it's going to be very exciting. I hope everybody that comes out really digs the tie-dye shirt. That was Brentwood Embroidery. Mike kind of came up with that, and it just fit into what we were doing.
Mike's a great guy.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Awesome over there.
Yes. And he's a veteran himself.
Yeah.
So we like to, our printing is from Parcel Plus. Like, I don't want to give too many plugs.
Oh, give all the plugs you want.
I don't, but they're veteran-owned businesses, and that's what we have here in East Contra Costa County. We have a great veterans community, all the way Knights Inn, everywhere. Everywhere we have a great veterans community, and I really think that is because of the blue-collar part of East Contra Costa County. You know, you go into Pittsburgh and Antioch, you have generations of servers of their country, of, you know, their dad was a Navy, so they wanted to go into the Marines, right? Or their mom was in the Air Force, so they had to go into the Army. You know, but it's generations. It's generations of service, and that's how we do it here. That's the reason why we knew that we would be able to get it done here in East Contra Costa County.
Absolutely. One of the things I wanted to kind of dispel was the myth that this event drives up homeless in East Contra Costa County. Now, I know you have a process for checking in and checking out.
Sure.
Can you kind of explain to everyone how that works?
Absolutely. First of all, the veterans get registered at VA medical facilities, and the other sites is the Bay Area Rescue Mission. There is a lot of due diligence into verifying veteran status. And then First Student out of Concord goes and buses them in. And then here's the really neat thing, is that First Students, those buses come back on Monday, and then they take them out to the shelters or the different transitional housings or the different services that we provided. But it is not, we bring them here. And quite honest with you, that's not the mentality that we want to have anyway, right? We want to have a society that's caring and welcoming. Certainly we do not like going down our streets and seeing homeless people panhandling. That is part of the reason why we try to provide this service. This is one way,
the lift up mentality.
Exactly, to get them off of the street. If we just keep on driving by, Mike, it has no change. The only thing that's going to happen is another tree is going to grow up, and they're going to be able to plant right underneath that tree, right?
And so just so there is a check-in and check-out policy, and you're getting a phone call.
No.
You didn't turn your phone off?
No.
That's a $20 rotary fine.
It is. And I think Gloria from the past is actually going to volunteer too, I believe. So
well,
she may find me.
You could use that $20 on the stand-down.
If Lindy's not watching, please, I don't want to be fined. I don't even have my rotary pin. You're not wearing your rotary pin either.
It's not a rotary event.
Right there you go. That's my reason. Mike just erased my fine.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll get fined for this.
Yeah, we edit. That's what edit button's for.
So just so everyone knows, the opening ceremony is at 4 p.m. on Friday, and it'll go all the way through the weekend.
Yes.
And then you guys will do all the services, provide food and everything that you do. If you have a chance, please volunteer. It's really awesome, even just to come see it. As a volunteer, not just open to the public.
Right, because we have looky-loos. And again, volunteer registration has ended, so they would have to really, it's for setup and tear down. If you're a barber or a beautician, we absolutely need you, and they can send me an email and we'll get them on the master volunteer list. But what we can't have, and what we had in 2015, is some people in the community want to really come in and just check out the event. Imagine you're a veteran participant. Do you want everybody coming in and looking at you? And that's kind of, I'm on that veterans participant side, so I do have to be a little bit firm on that one. We cannot have looky-loos coming in. And I understand that a lot of people want to know what it is. We're taking plenty of pictures, and then in 2019, sign up to be a volunteer and become part of our solution. To that, of course, we welcome everybody. You know, we don't want to be so harsh. However, we do have to draw a line on that.
So anyway, be sure to check out deltaveteransgroup.org.
deltaveteransgroup.org. You can go to the stand down on the Delta page to find out any more information like that. There is also a contact us, so if you can't, if you didn't write down my email address, you can certainly contact us. That'll go to me as well. But for setup and tear down, we absolutely need you to come down. For setup and tear down, you can just walk in. We'll have you sign a waiver, and then you're up and ready to go.
Thank you for all you do, man. It's going to
Thank
be
you.
a great few days.
Yes.
Keep
yes,
it up,
is.
and whatever we can do going forward, just let me know. And thank you, everyone, for all your support. And we'll
Absolutely.
put out a recap after the event.